Hi, and welcome to the Quarantine Zone. I'm Luke. This is Jamie.
Hello.
This is Sean.
Hey.
And this is Rachel.
Hello.
So today we're talking about the fall chapter of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
How's everyone doing today?
I bought some new earrings. That was exciting. Oh, I got a new duvet, so I'm a bit about that.
Wow.
But yeah.
So it's been a while since we've recorded the last episode. We'd like to apologize. We've been swamped.
Busy with shit.
Yeah, because, the world was literally rolling me. Sorry, I saw a pun, I took it. Anyway. So let's just get into this without further delay. So like Luke said, we're talking about fall. We're kind of just talk about it, like the main plot points, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like. Well, what is The Last of Us? The didn't like part will be probably very slim.
Yeah.
So
I like everything about The Last of Us.
So yeah, let's go right into it. So, where we left off, people died, which is a shame.
Like time.
Yeah, Henry and Sam are dead. It's kind of Ellie's just trying to kind of help Joel, bring it up to him, and he's like, no, please don't.
He's not happy.
Yeah. And they kind of come across this dam, and with like a bunch of people, and one of those people being Tommy.
Yeah.
And just this whole sequence, it kind of gives humanity a little bit of hope, considering how well they're doing and all that with crops and all, and trying to have a sense of familiarness in the worst fucking part of that point in time.
Yeah, totally. They have a structure, and they have they've built a community and a family and that kind of thing. And even Tommy's got himself a wife, Maria, and they're hoping to have a kid and all that kind of thing, all those kind of things. And they have a system and it's working really well. Whereas obviously with it's such a contrast to the thing we've just seen. With Henry and Sam fucking getting bitten, shooting each other and killing themselves, all that kind of stuff. It's such a contrast to that, where there's people who are perfectly within themselves and their community, and they have something good going, and then just before that we saw something that was fucking crazy and traumatic. It's interesting.
Well, because I think it's the first time we see an established civilization outside of the government.
Zone.
Yeah, outside of what the government and the army are doing. There is, and I don't even really say the Fireflies are like that.
No.
Civilized.
Well, no, we know they're not immediately, because we see Marlene and she's fucked up, obviously.
Yeah.
And so we know Fireflies are doing very well.
So it is that glimmer of hope, because it is the first. It's the kind of thing where it's outside of this really regimented army system, there are people actually doing really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of seeing Joel and Tommy just get reunited was nice, even though they kind of argue a little bit later. Just having that sense of, yay, Tommy's okay, he isn't dead.
Exactly.
I'm glad just to see Joel a little bit happy, because he kind of deserves it.
Yeah, and in that moment, even though the calmness of it doesn't last that long, in that moment, Joel does have something, he's happy about something, rather than trying to avoid thinking about Sam and Henry and everything that's gone on before. And same with Ellie, it's a bit of a distraction, and it's just a nice dynamic between all of the characters. Also, just a small little detail, that I'm pretty sure round about here is when you can look inside Ellie's bag and she has Riley's pendant.
Who's Riley?
Who's Riley? Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to see what reaction I
Oh,
got.
you scared me then,
Oh
Jamie.
my god.
Yeah, and she
Oh.
decides, and she's like, "Fuck you," and I'm like, "Wow, I want to die."
Oof.
Yeah, I know that shit hurted.
Uh,
Yeah, this will be my last oof.
s- yeah, we kind of have a. One thing that I really do like seeing was Ellie kind of warming up to the horses.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Especially because we get a little bit of a nod to Winston and like him helping her because she talks about it, obviously. She talks about riding horses before, which is a nice nod to the comic books.
Still haven't read it, even though it's been a
You
month.
should read them. They've
I've
got
been
lots of
busy.
text.
Alright, I'll fucking read them tomorrow then.
They're really good. They're not too long either.
Alright. Okay, I'll read them. Alright, I'm writing it down on my arm.
The the thing about the comic books is that they were like a really nice kind of like way of introducing Riley's character.
Mhm.
Yeah. So because I read the comics before I played the DLC,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it was nice. But yeah, sorry, I'm going off track. Let's continue.
Okay, so Joel kind of is given like a little bit of tour of the dam, seeing everything kind of how it works, and then Joel kind of takes Tommy aside and says, "Hey, you know, Ellie's immune. Help, you know, just help."
Basically. Yeah.
Is this like the point where Tommy gives Joel tries to give him the picture?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That fucking hurt me. It really did.
Yeah, all the same, and he's not here for it. Joel's just still, even after all these years, this is the first time we really kind of understand, like, especially in contrast to what he said about, like, Sam and Henry, like, just forget about it. Like, this is where we see where that mindset comes from, because he's, like, not willing to even think about Sarah or talk about Sarah or, like, acknowledge her existence at all, because it hurts too much, and he hasn't had that time to grieve and or do anything about it, and that's when you kind of like, oh shit, like this guy, he's not okay about it.
Yeah.
Oof.
Feels bad.
Yeah, and he kind of goes into the conversation that Tommy should do it, because I feel like that Ellie was kind of getting on Joel's nerves a little bit at that point. But you know what they say: if you get grown apart, you get closer together.
They all say that, yeah.
I don't know if they said that. So that was me just bullshitting. Whoopsies. So I think, oh yeah, bandits happen, right?
Yes, they do.
Big bandit boys that you gotta shoot up.
Boys.
Yeah, they kind of attack it, and I kind of like the combat in the dam water part, where on the bridges and stuff.
Yeah.
And I kept dying here, because one thing that I forgot to fucking mention. You know where you have to kind of move the bridge a lot at the beginning of the chapter?
Yeah.
I spent 45 minutes just trying to fucking get across that place.
Oh my gosh.
I was so confused. I was like, alright, so what do I do? Do I just look for a switch on this side? Or I don't know.
I think no, I was fine. I got it. I think I played it one time though, and I didn't know what I was doing though. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I like the kind of the very, very subtle puzzle aspect of Last of Us, where it's kind of you kind of need to think on your feet a little bit and just make the best of each situation.
Yeah, it doesn't just give you the answers for a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff it is you have, because it's not too hard, but you do have to actually work for some things rather than just being given to you on a silver platter.
Yeah. So anyway, back onto the bandits. The basic, they kind of have to fight their way back to Maria and Ellie.
Yeah.
Yeah. and like seeing how protective Joel is, you know, over Ellie, Tommy says, "All right, I'll help you."
Yeah.
Whilst Maria's like, "No, just don't. It's not a bad
And
idea."
Maria doesn't want to.
Yeah.
I love Maria. She's a character.
And then, you know, Ellie's listening into the conversation. I don't remember if she lip read or not, but I really hope, you know, like she tried to work out my waffle xylophone on the cheese man. If anyone who gets the reference, bravo. So yeah, she kind of like, she's kind of sick of like just being like the main problem, I guess.
Yeah.
And kind of like everything's kind of centered
I
around
feel
her.
like, yeah,
Like,
totally.
everything's kind of like her fault.
She's kind of felt like a burden her whole life.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like it's important to remember, like, before she meets Joel, like, that's 2 weeks after the whole thing happened with Riley, and that's kind of the start of where she kind of really feels like, hey, like, I'm a fucking burden to everyone around me.
Yeah.
And then this stuff with Sam and Henry's happened, and that just keeps piling on, and now she's got Joel wanting to get rid of her, and she's starting to realize that she's more of an object than she is a person, and like, she's really struggling with that, and just like, not wanting to be around, which is like obviously really fucking fucked up for like a 14-year-old girl, and
To even think that, but I
I
kind
know.
of understand. Excuse me. I understand like both sides of it, but I'm definitely with Ellie.
Yeah, no,
Because
I am too.
It's kind of important to have, no matter how young somebody is, they need to have an input in everything.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you can't like take away their input because it's wrong, someone doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And so she steals a horse and just runs away.
Yeah.
I kind of like chasing on the horse though. It was nice.
Yeah.
And then you gotta fight the bandits again. Then you end up in this house, this little ranchy house. You gotta explore it a little bit, which is nice. I can't just going through the rooms and saying, "Ellie, where the hell are you?"
Yeah, this is one of my favorite scenes.
I don't really remember much about this scene, unfortunately.
So good.
I know like the entire monologue, so I can recite it if you wish. No, it's just where Ellie's like sat reading a book, and she's like, "Oh, is this all they used to talk about? Boys, movies, what shirt goes with which skirt?" And then they start talking, and then like he's like, "Fuck you, Ellie." Well, no, that's not what he's like, obviously, but he's like angry at Ellie for running off, obviously.
Mhm.
And then she's like, "Dude, fucking cut the bullshit, like, just say you wanted to get rid of me the whole time." And they're like arguing, and then Ellie says some really sad shit, and she brings up Sarah, and we have the iconic line from Joel when he's like, "Ellie, you were stepping on some mighty thin ice here." And then they get into an argument. It's a good line. It's one of my favorites, but
I'm
yeah,
fucking quoting that. I totally forgot about that line. I'm quoting that shit now.
I do it all the time. And they're like arguing, and yeah, and it's sad. And then he's like, and then she's like, well, what's the line? Something like, oh yeah, she's like, I'm not your daughter. She's like, I'm not your daughter, Joel, because they're arguing about that, and like obviously she's fucking touched a nerve to bringing up Sarah and saying about like, because she's being like, I can understand why you're acting the way you are, but like, dude, and he's like, bitch, I'm angry. And then he's like, yeah, you sure as hell aren't, and I sure as hell ain't your dad. And then Tommy interrupts because there's bandits and everyone thinks sad and they're angry at each other, and then I want to die is what I'm getting to here.
I don't remember that scene, but I do remember kind of like the passive aggressiveness of like Ellie during like during this segment.
Yeah, it's
Like,
my favorite scene. It's so well put together.
I've
And I feel like that scene is like the building block for like Joel and Ellie's journey throughout the game, and like what they end up being, and like what their relationship becomes.
Oh yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Yeah.
it's like the penultimate like moment where you realize like fuck, and where Joel kind of realizes that he's grown to care for Ellie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that scene. Yeah, and then
Good
obviously
one.
after.
I just love them.
Mood.
Boy, just I really I need to definitely go rewatch this scene as soon as we finish today.
You should.
But I really I just really just want to see like the conflict and knowing the ending to the game. It'll be nice to kind of see how far they've come over about 6 months ish.
Yeah.
I want to say, but
From that point, yeah.
uh,
Oh,
ugh.
fuck.
So, alright, so, like you said, Tommy versus the bandits. Oh dear. So they fight out the way, kill the majority of them, and they decide to go back to the dam.
They screw it away.
But on the way back, he was kind of like thinking a little bit,
Yeah.
and he says, I'll do it myself.
Yep. And then there's a fucking great moment where Ellie and Joel talk, and they do it together, and they just like that whole thing, like in that moment, and that kind of like process of them thinking, and like Joel like completely changes his mind, and he realizes like, hey, I can't fucking lose her, like I can't lose her, like I've lost everyone else.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I don't know, it's that really nice change of like character or like reveal, and that's when you know shit is about to get real.
We'll get to that because oh boy, it does get real.
It does.
There was a really nice scene though when Joel's saying goodbye, because it kind of has a sense of that Joel's very, very uncertain if he will be back
Yeah.
because of like how dangerous the journey has been.
Yeah.
And God, I really hope they're okay.
Me
I hope
too.
Tommy's okay. I hope Joel and Tommy get reunited, please. But my God, just the performances in that part was just great, and they just get better and better throughout the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking excellent.
So basically, they head off to the University of Eastern Colorado.
They sure do.
I think that was like the new meetup point, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It was weird. It's like, all right, Capitol building. It's like, nope. All right, Colorado. It's a bit of a fucking walk there, buddy.
A bit longer journey.
Yeah. And told that it's because sorry, I'm kind of reading ahead, but Tommy told him the Firefly's lab is there. So it has like nice moments of, okay, you gotta hop on the horse, have a nice conversation with Ellie, get off the horse, do a little bit of combat, get back on the horse again. I have that like a little bit of on and off.
Yeah, I love riding on the horses. I think it's really fun.
It's pretty well done as well.
Yeah, it is.
Like, there's a lot of games that try and implement like horse riding and other animal riding, and it's just really badly done. But it is done really well by Naughty Dog.
I'm just thinking about like how they're kind of trying to reconcile a little bit and just try and get to know each other. I think isn't this where like Joel talks about guitar?
Yeah, I think this is when he mentions it.
Yeah. And
He mentions that in summer.
oh, okay. Whoops. I may have jumped the gun a little bit. Sorry, my brain's like all over the place with like the timeline since I haven't played it in a while. So like the little things are kind of out of place.
I played it recently, but not up to this point.
Yeah. So boy, we're bad at this. We apologize.
You're trying our best.
Yeah.
Fact check us.
We're using the Last of
The
Us
Life is
wiki.
Strange.
The Last of Us wiki as a template to kind of get an idea on where the story is. So we have like a nice little bit of information to kind of help us with what we're talking about, what segment. So let's get back into it. They find out the school's been abandoned, which is a shame. and they found a recorder that tells them of the current whereabouts of the Firefly. But there's people who are like attacking them.
Banditos for sure.
They just try and start a fight. I don't get why people just try and start a fight. You know, because like
Mood.
humanity is fucked already, right? With the infestation. So why try and set up like things? Just don't try and betray each other. You know.
Yep.
If everybody loved each other,
It's
the
a
world would
dog eat dog world out there.
yeah. You know, if everybody loved each other, the world would be a better place to live.
Well, you've seen that that's not possible.
Realistic.
So Joel and Ellie try and escape, you know, from the school, but Joel's attacked and pushed over a railing,
Yeah.
and he gets impaled, which is kind of weird because I thought he'd impale me.
I wished, to be honest. What do you have?
Stop!
I'm sorry. You know, he's really fucking hurt. This is like, which is a real big shame. And like
Yeah.
Ellie's just absolutely panicking.
Yeah, and she's like, can you walk? And he's like, yeah, and she said, fucking walk.
Yeah. He's like,
It's a good
God
one.
damn it! And like, he's, you know, Ellie just like, you know, like shooting her guns, trying to help.
Yeah, I think Ellie being like aggressive and like just fucking freaking out and like not being like, oh, are you okay? Like, I think that helps Joel as well.
Yeah.
Rather than Ellie being like, oh, come on, I'm gonna look after you. And she's just like, fucking walk, you asshole, let's go.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Joel's trying to get on the horse. Okay. Oops. Oof. Just passes out. And Ellie, I feel really, really bad for Ellie because like the main reason she's going on, it would, you know, Joel, you know, just trying to help her, is just out of it, and she has no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And it just really just shows her initiative and how smart she is.
Yeah.
Kind of, because it kind of leads into Left Behind. Do we want to kind of make Left Behind the next episode, since it's timeline-ish in between this and winter?
Oh, like the Joel part of Left Behind.
Yeah, like the shopping mall.
Do we want to leave that till
The end.
afterwards, just because obviously there's this
Winter.
whole stuff with... Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So we kind of just glossed over the story of Fall. Is there anything that anyone else liked from Fall?
Well, one of my favourite bits is when they're getting to the university
Mhm.
and like looking around. Is that it's just the design of it is really,
Yeah.
really well done.
I like that bit as well, just because after, like, there was a lot of heavy shit beforehand, and then, like, as soon as you get to the university, like, you can really, like, tell how much Joel and Ellie's dynamic has changed whilst they've been traveling and, like, growing closer. Like, they're just having, like, a lot of it, the conversation is just them, like, talking about, like, themselves and, like, who they are, or, like, just, like, having nice conversations or joking, and it's, like, a really nice, like, relaxing kind of dynamic, and it's, like, I really like that from, like, a writing standpoint. It's just so nice.
Because you just get that, you get so much time to just walk around and explore.
Yeah.
Like, it goes back to being this part of the game where just, you get to look around, you really get to, and it's one of those bits where, yeah, you can just, like, kind of run through it and, like, do everything.
But
if
you don't have to. You can enjoy the environment
exactly,
if you want
and
to.
then you can, like, there's so many different things you can, like, look through and find these notes from the students.
And there's, like, optional dialogues.
Yeah, and, like, storylines and all this
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So, and, like, as a student, like, going through the halls and stuff and, like, seeing all the empty rooms.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's really well designed, this bit, from, like, a, like, actual, environment design point of view.
Yeah.
It's really, really well done.
I love how the fucking lighting is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's so gorgeous.
It's just, I was like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, it's just so good, and then I'm like, remember that this was made, like, 5 years ago.
Yeah, in 2014, when, like, it was on the PlayStation 3, which isn't exactly, if you think of games that came out, like, around that time, you can't think of anything as that beautiful as The Last of Us.
Everything was so groundbreaking that they released.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, every games, like, I don't know, the latest Call of Duty, and Naughty Dog's just like, hey, look at this. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it's a fucking painting.
Honestly, like,
Yes.
if,
could walk
if
around.
part 2 lives up to what the first one did,
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to contain myself.
I know.
Oh, just seeing from the footage, it's gonna be really fucking beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a lot of faith in Naughty Dog and the team and everything they're doing there.
Yeah. Oh boy. Also,
It's hard.
yeah.
Some great people over there.
One thing that I kind of do like as well is I don't remember specific optional conversations, but I remember they were very good in the university. Which sucks because I think the last time I played this game was about.
Yeah, the conversations they're like, and like bit where they're like listening to a recorder or something, and they're like talking, and then the recorder they're talking about like just some lines I really like from the game. And they're talking about how like the monkeys went kind of feral and fucking bit everyone, and and then like they're trying to figure out where everyone's gone, and then at least like maybe they turned into fucking monkeys.
It's like
no.
they do casual conversation really
Yeah.
well. Like there's been a game,
Especially between like fighting.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like there's a game that I played recently that I will not name, where I just found some of the casual conversations a bit awkward and a bit like they were just trying to throw in like as many references to other stuff as they can and all this kind of stuff. I didn't really like it. Whereas this just felt really natural.
Yeah.
Like the writing is so good.
Yeah, it didn't feel forced because you don't really have like, since you were talking about references, they don't really have anything to refer to.
No, I don't.
They just kind of have to talk about what they know.
Even
And
that
they
kind of thing, like when you say they don't have any references to refer to, we get moments of like Joel saying stuff and like Ellie's like what, and Joel like kind of laughing and like reminiscing of the past and
Yeah,
shit
like the
that.
ice cream truck is like,
Yeah, or
that's
like
creepy.
Or the posters and stuff like of movies, and like Ellie's like, oh, like she asks questions and like she's like, oh, I can't believe like life used to be like that, and like, or like Joel talking about a cup of coffee or stuff like that. It's just like those little moments of like Joel and Ellie connecting, and like just Joel reminiscing of like when times weren't as fucking tough. And there's a lot of moments like that in the university area, and I don't know, I really like that.
Yeah, just enjoy the little things really, as much as you can take them. Oh boy, just Fall is it's kind of nice, but ends on a really fucking sad note, and it just gets worse from there.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what else we can talk about, I'm afraid, because I feel like we've talked about a lot of stuff very, very quickly.
I feel like Fall isn't that big of a chapter, to be quite honest.
It's kind of like it's small, but which kind of makes up for winter kind of being a bit of a big thing to talk about with a lot of stuff happening. And I feel like whenever we get to that, it'll be very, very nice to talk about. And we can just go into big old detail. So I think we should start wrapping up, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Fuck, I didn't expect it to finish it that quickly.
Read that boy.
So yeah, everybody, we'd like to thank everybody so much for listening. Sorry for the delay for this episode. We're unsure about when the next episode's going to be, but we pretty much certain that the next episode's going to be winter.
Yes.
Right? So
Yes.
it's going to be
That is
nice,
how seasons work.
nice lengthy boy.
Oh, that is a big boy.
There is
That's
one
big
thing
boy.
that I don't like about this is that they didn't mention any spookiness. There was like no Halloween.
But in Left Behind, you do get some Halloweeny jokes.
It's not enough though.
So I'll let it slide.
They referenced it in Summer, Sean. That's not good enough.
Look, I don't think that's their number one priority.
But then again, any of that just
Does
any
Ellie even
time
know
in
what
that.
Halloween is?
I wish. That's like Joel has to sit down with Ellie. Okay, all right. So there was this time where kids just dressed up as whatever they want just to get candy.
Yeah. And they
Like,
dressed
why?
as zombies and stuff like that.
Like, wouldn't that
It's like
scare
awfully
people?
ironic.
Yeah. Every season is spooky season for The Last of Us.
It's true.
No, it really is.
So anyway, our next episode is going to be Winter.
Winter has one of my least favorite characters.
Yeah.
No, probably my least favorite character, actually.
All right, yeah.
The demon.
Yeah, we'll talk about Riley when we get to her in Left Behind, but
Wow!
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I love Riley.
No need to slander Riley.
We all know who who you're talking about, so we'll kind of delve into him later. So we'll make up for how short this episode was with a nice big episode for Winter to kind of talk because there's like two perspectives which we get to talk about as well, and it introduces a new thing. So I think that's it, right?
I think so.
All right. So we'll see everybody next time for the Winter episode.
Yeah, see you soon.
Bye.
You cracker.
Bye.